what are you doing?
We're trying to get this sword out of the stone.
Can I try?
Yeah, sure.
Aren't you a little small? Alright, whatever.
Here goes my dog.
Okay. You think you can get it? Good luck. Telling you, rope's not gonna do anything. We get a rock, and try this thing. You don't have a wing. Where are we gonna get a wing? Well, is someone driving around gonna find it and like come out here and then? Buddy or something, but.
Guys, I got it.
What?
Do you like Snatch or Sherlock Holmes? Well, stay tuned for Guy Ritchie's next masterpiece, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. We're also creating the cocktail Kid in a Candy Store.
You felt it, didn't you? The power.
The film was directed by Guy Ritchie, starring Charlie Hunnam, Jude Law, Eric Bana, and others.
Just random people, really.
What's your initial thoughts on the movie?
I had no real desire to see this. I mean, it looked interesting from the trailer, but I'm always game for a King Arthur movie, and it was a big letdown. Like, Guy Ritchie just should not direct a fantasy movie. What about you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was excited for it. Like, we had the Clive Owen King Arthur a couple years ago. Then we had the Sword in the Stone, the classic Disney movie, which was awesome, and everybody loves that. So I was like, okay, King Arthur. One thing about this movie, it's unique. It's a different take on Arthur, a different take on the legend.
But it just falls short.
It falls short.
It does fall short.
What kind of a man would you become had you inherited your father's kingdom instead of being raised in a brothel?
I'm Clint, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a ice cream and milk based frozen drink, and it's going to be delicious and it's going to be savory. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need some Chambord. It's a raspberry liqueur. Then you're going to need some amaretto, which is a almond liqueur. And then there's Kahlua. That is a rum and coffee liqueur. And your last alcohol is going to be an Irish cream. You're going to also have some vanilla ice cream, some Hershey's Pure American syrup, and some maraschino cherries. Then you're going to add even more sugar with some Oreo chocolate cookies. And you're going to blend it all up in my Black & Decker blender. Once that's all blended up, we're going to pour it into this nice tulip glass. A little bit about what happens in this movie. Very beginning, there's a big battle. Think Lord of the Rings, massive elephants, rip-off, and a big castle, and they're the last remaining stronghold in England, and Mordred is attacking, and the mages are trying to wipe out humanity. Uther Pendragon, which is played by Eric Bana, comes out with the Sword of Excalibur, and he's the only one who can save him. He runs out, jumps on the elephant like Legolas, climbs up, goes in there and beheads Mordred. Then you have Jude Law.
Vortigern.
It's his brother.
His brother Vortigern. Like,
he goes to this...
usurps the throne.
Usurps the throne, goes down, it's like a tentacle hente porn part. It was cool.
Oh, we're going to talk about that later. I'm going to get into that.
And so he gets this power, and Uther Pendragon's he's usurping the throne, he takes Arthur and the wife, and they escape down to the docks.
Montage of him growing up in this whorehouse because he gets found by a couple of whores down by the river.
Montage of Arthur growing up. He learns to fight. He learns to beg, steal, cheat.
I like the beginning of this movie, I would say. Like, the opener, like, it grabs you, but then, like, at the point where they send Arthur, like, they essentially treat Arthur as if he's Moses. Like, they put him in the boat, and he just floats down the river.
Yeah.
Would have been more interesting.
But then, the bulk of the movie, learning to accept that he is the born king, and he's going to retake the throne with the help of
his frickin' Cockney-speaking cronies.
Throughout the movie, he's just learning how to use Excalibur, getting to know his characters, which we don't get to know at all.
Right. And you can't even keep up with the names. There's this convoluted assassination plot.
Which
on
is the coolest part.
Vortigern.
Like, he finally learns how to use the sword, and he beats the fuck out of all these ninja, masked ninja dudes.
Yeah.
This is a mess of a movie.
Oh, it's a hot mess. This movie is a hot fucking mess.
The film didn't introduce things to us in a timely manner. Like,
or it didn't set anything up.
There's no development.
Yeah, there's no development,
The only
no
people who
setup.
developed are Jude Law and Charlie Hunnam. Everybody else is just in there, like.
And you can't keep up with everybody. It's like this guy, then this guy, then this guy did this, and this guy did this, and
They
it's
expect
like,
you to know what's
okay.
going on. They expect you to, like, there was a prequel novel.
Yeah,
and you know
it's like there was like another movie. This movie gives me a headache.
You need to be careful. His power is increasing.
When people fear you, it is the most intoxicating sensation a man can possess.
It means something. You're no longer a myth.
Characters. Let's dive into the characters just a little bit.
You got King Arthur. He's the most well-developed character in the thing, but he's also not developed.
Yeah.
Like, you get most of his development in the first montage of 30 seconds.
And
He's
yeah,
just like a jackass the entire movie.
Yeah, that's the more interesting stuff is him growing up in the city. Like that's what I would have rather have seen. And on top of that, Charlie Hunnam, like
He's 0 for 2.
He is
movies we've reviewed for him.
He is just the worst. Like he's not as bad as The Lost City of Z, but he's pretty damn close. Like
I don't want to see him in a lead role ever again.
I don't either. Like, it's horrible.
I almost wanted I wanted Gerard Butler. I wanted Chris Evans.
Anyone else could have played that part and probably done a better job.
Jude Law. First off, let's say the writing is just shit in this movie. The dialogue is so cheesy. Jude Law has some of the worst dialogue. It's just typical villain shit. Then you got everyone else. You got Goose Fat Bill. You got George. You got Mike. You got Phil. You got Larry. That's his companion. This is medieval Europe.
Flat nose Mike. Talk about the worst sequence in the movie. Like that whole bit about them, like him, less is more, Mike, less is more, and like they're taking like his furs, and it's like I didn't even know what was going on.
What about Lancelot? What about Sir Bedivere?
Yeah,
what about Sir Tristan?
Where's the knights? Where's Sir Guinevere and
it's like
all that?
Their names are
Gawain,
Mike and Phil and Larry and Mo. What the fuck?
And there's no Merlin. There's no knights.
There's the mention of
Merlin.
Merlin.
There's mention of Merlin, but there's no like. Isn't that someone we would want to see?
And the Merlin character, which was the mage, she was just not good.
Yeah, she
didn't even have a British accent. She spoke like Eastern European.
Well, she might have been from somewhere else, but yeah, she was just there.
She summoned the snake, and there was that point when she summoned crows.
Is that all she could do? Was like control animals?
The rest of the characters are just you don't get to know any of them. No development besides the main two.
Yeah.
Eric Bana was the most interesting part, and he died in 3 minutes.
He's dead pretty quick. Like, okay. I would have rather seen a movie about him or young Arthur.
You wanted the prophecy. Raise that sword!
You're playing with fire.
Oh, look at that! Oh my god, this looks amazing.
Look at Kid in the Candy Store. That is tasty.
Mm-hmm. That's like a sundae.
It's like a chocolate Oreo sundae.
Oh man, that's just great.
With a little bit of taste of the raspberry and cherry mixed in.
Everything like mixes well. That might be the best milkshake I've ever had.
All right, technicals. What do you think of the movie?
Like, it's very desaturated, like a lot of gray. And I know you had pointed out, you know, it's whenever we saw it, like it's a medieval film.
It's medieval. You can't take that away. That's just what happened.
Well, you could have spruced it up a little bit. But it's like Guy Ritchie does all of his like normal camera work in this. Like he does like the quick cuts, and there's like this weird running scene where it's like they had like cameras attached right here.
Yeah, it's like the side of the face.
Yeah,
and
that was different.
I got like almost sick to my stomach because this movie needed to be rated R, and it was PG-13, and you could tell they wanted to have the violence, but none of the gore and the blood. So the fighting scenes, they cut around a lot of like the slices on the body, and you could just tell it was like, how can we not make this violent but still have the interpretation of violence?
And maybe like the choreography wasn't the best for it, which is surprising for a Guy Ritchie movie if that's the case. But yeah, like the and the editing style did not work with this, like that quick jump cutty.
Yeah, if you've seen Sherlock Holmes 1 or 2 by Guy Ritchie, you know, especially in the fight scenes, like Sherlock Holmes is preparing for a fight, and then you see what happens. Like, I'm going to go for the gut punch and then go right into the nose, and then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then the fight happens. Like, he plans it out. That doesn't work in this movie.
Nah, they should have done something
and they did
else.
It like 4 different times. Like,
I would say, though, as a positive, the production design.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everything looked good. Like, the sets and the costumes and all that came together. The I think you had said the creatures.
They had some really cool aerial shots of the city. And
it felt like, and maybe this is attributed to the tone as well, like, it would be super serious, and then it would almost take on this Ocean's 11 like tone. Like, you know
heist.
how like they like plan out their heists and stuff. So I know we've talked a lot of negative about this movie, and we kind of hit like a couple positive notes. But like, what's something that you would say this movie did well, if anything at all?
Production design was nice. The look of the movie it had me in the air. It had me sucked in.
I liked the opening. Like, the opening really drew me in. Like, a lot of times I go to watch a movie and I can tell if I'm going to like it or not within the
opening
first
was their budget.
5 minutes. It might have been. Like, the opening was the best stuff, and later on they were like, oh, we got to make the rest of the movie.
We can't afford Eric Bana.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Thomas.
Final thoughts. I can't recommend this movie. Like, I like King Arthur, I like the Arthur legend, but I just could not get behind this. I like Guy Ritchie, but the two things do not mesh, and I can't even recommend like a rental. What about you? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. More like Legend of the Board. It was not fun. It was not entertaining. I wanted to like it, like I said. I was drawn in by the production and the creatures, but I was thrown off by the shitty editing and the quick cuts and the not being rated R and Charlie Hunnam's poor timed humor.
God.
Whew. And the entire cast's poor timed humor and Jude Law's terrible performance. It was not a good movie. No recommendation. I wish I wouldn't have saw it. I wanted to walk out through the entire movie, but I stayed the course. But you should not stay the course. You should just bail on out of there.
Avoid it like the plague.
3 out of 10. So, but do make this drink, Kid in a Candy Store, and drink up.
And enjoy the show.
Fuck this sword. I'll be back.
Good riddance.